Hi guys, and welcome back to the SN Studio and another installment of the Tactica series. And what we've got for you today is the First Legion, the Dark Angels. And I'm sure you're all familiar with what you think are all of the wings, the Deathwing, Ravenwing, Dreadwing. But have you heard of the Plasmatic-Wing? 3,000 points of plasma-induced fun coming up. So now you've had a look at the army and all the gorgeous models involved. So what goes into the Plasmatic-Wing? So in the lore, as we all know, the Dark Angels are the Plasma Legion. They love their plasma. And I've taken that to the extreme. I've included as much plasma here as is physically possible with the studio army. And the concept being bucket loads of Strength 7 breaching 4-up firepower. To make the list work, I've had to go without a right of war to not have to pay any tax or do any weird shenanigans. So it's just 3,000 points of just raw, brutal firepower. And where better to start off than with the HQ choice, of which we have one. Yep, just one. So we've gone for a console with the Herald upgrade, which of course brings the Legion standard, which means his unit will have line, which is always nice. He's got a Terranic Greatsword because why would you take anything else? It's one of the best melee weapons in the game. And his Warlord trait is Stoic Defender, which will grant all of his units shooting attacks pinning, which will be great when you see what he's attached to later on. And also gives me an extra reaction in the shooting phase, with all that plasma, I'm going to be doing a lot of shooting. So yeah, it's not very flashy, but it synergizes well with the rest of the force. And now we move into the elites. So to start off the elites on the list, we've got a Talon of Contemptor Dreadnoughts, and the plasma theme runs strong here. So they've got plasma cannons and plasma blasters. Why have these been included in the list? Because they're Contemptors. They're some of the best units in the game, and plasma might not be as great as everything else, but it's a theme we're going for here, so plasma all around. So reasonably effective in shooting and absolutely murderous in assault. Perfect. So next up for the, it's not a retinue, but I want to call it a retinue because he's going to go with the HQ. We have a unit of Inner Knight Cenobium. I hope I said that correctly. Lincoln, tell me in the comments if I messed that one up, guys. One of the best assault units in the game. They're going to go around with the HQ, so they get pinning on their flamers, which would be pretty scary. And they're going to be going around in a Spartan with extra Lascannons, just to pop any armor so that all the nice tasty Marines inside can get a taste of plasma. And yeah, it's a very, very good counterattack unit to take on any melee Death Stars that might come the army's way. And it's pretty much the only omission, them and the Contemptor, for melee. But they're gorgeous models, and I think they're great to have like a counter punch for anything that gets too close to the gun line. Then, the other elite's choice, we have the Dreadwing Interemptors. I hope I said that right. Again, correct me in the comments, guys. Yeah, plasma flamers. What more do you want? It's horrific. This unit, I've faced it many, many times. I've used them on the battlefield many, many times. They are horrible. And they're riding in a Land Raider with extra Lascannons. Again, to pop that armor, which might be a problem for the rest of the plasma-equipped units. Because I need them to get where they need to go and drop all those horrible templates of Strength 7 breaching 4-up. So that's it for elites. I think we've got a good mix there of melee units to counterpunch the enemy and shooting units to take them down. And now, next up, troops. First off, the line element of it, we've got two 10-man tactical squads with the Stormwing Hexagrammaton, because what else would you have? +1 to hit with bolt guns? Yeah. Cheapest chips. It's the troop stacks, really, the only line units in the game apart from the Warlord, thanks to his Legion standard. And their job is to camp the back line, any objectives close to the deployment zone. So they're cheap as they can come. I've given the Sergeant a Power Sword just because WYSIWYG, and they've got a Vexilia, so they won't run away from those objectives. Yeah, there's not much more to say about that. They don't even have any transports. Cheap as I can make them. I've also got 2 10-man plasma-equipped tactical support squads riding in rhinos. Because, well, this is Plasmatic-Wing. I need plasma, right, to make it work. So here we have 20 plasma guns in rhinos because I want them to be moving forward, keeping up with the rest of the army, to get into those rapid fire ranges, to unload all of that lovely plasma goodness on the enemy. They are key components of the game. Even though they're not line, they're still troops, and they're packing a lot of firepower. So, and again, plasma, that's the whole reason this list exists. So that rounds out the troops choices. Next up, heavy support. And heavy support choices, there's only one, and it is, of course, a Leviathan Dreadnought. Why Leviathan Dreadnought? Because we need more oomph in this list. He's going to go up as aggressive as possible, straight up the middle of the board, create pressure, and ease some of the pressure on the plasma-equipped squads, which are the real damage dealers. And not really much more to say about that. Everybody knows Leviathans. Everybody loves them or hates them, depending on which side of the board you're on. Let's talk about how the list works up next. So how does all this work on the tabletop? So how I would envision this army being used is being very, very aggressive in the first couple of turns to get the melee beasts that are the Leviathan and the Contemptors right in the enemy's face. Start pressuring straight away. Move that Spartan forwards with those Inner Knight Cenobiums in there. It's a hell of a scary unit to be facing in combat. Trust me, I've had horrible things done to my armies with those guys. I know what it's like. Get the enemy to start focusing on those, which allows the plasma units to come up straight behind them, get into rapid fire range or flamer template range, and just start deleting units off the board with them. The whole time, as you're closing with the Land Raid and the Spartan, firing loads of Lascannons, popping those tanks that can be bothersome, and and the tactical squads abusing cover as much as possible to claim any objectives whilst you systematically annihilate chunks of the enemy. Now, that all sounds great in theory, but in practice, we all know things can go horribly wrong. This army, whilst it has a lot of medium to short range firepower, maybe in the long range firepower, I know there's a lot of Lascannons on there, but a long range shooty list who gets the first turn on this can really, really ruin your day. I mean, if they pop if they pop any of the vehicles or immobilize them, your plan is already in tatters because you're walking up the board, and at the end of the day, most of the army is tactical equivalent Marines with 3-up saves. Any elites or any heavy shooting is just going to decimate your forces. Sure, the Contemptors are there, but anybody who's a bit wise about things will launch their own distraction units towards the Contemptors to slow them down, whilst they destroy the dangerous stuff, which is the plasma squads. So it is a survivable list. You've got 2 Land Raiders on there, you've got 2 Contemptors of Leviathan, you know, the Inner Knight Cenobium with all of that Cataphractii armor. They are very, very tough to take down. But the plasma-equipped squads are your basic 3+ Marines. And we all know that 3+ Marines can go down quite easy with all the horrible things that there are in 30k to deal with them. So, is this list perfect? No. Is it broken? No. Will it be fun? I think so. I think it would be a hell of a lot of fun for both sides, because whilst if it all works great, it would be horrible to see chunks of your army be deleted by breaching 4-up plasma working. If the dice gods aren't with you, or if you get the first turn, and if you're lucky and immobilize the Land Raider and the Spartan, you're laughing because the army's lost a lot of its edge, a lot of the pressure it can put on you early on. So I really like this army because it isn't an automatic I win button like some other lists out there. You have to think about it. It's tactical, and I really don't like it when you see lists out there, you just look and you go, I would hate to play against this list because it has so many automatic I win buttons. This doesn't have it. And whilst it does have scary units, and as a whole, if it all works great, it's scary, that's the same of nearly every army in 30k. If it all works well, of course everything's going to go great. Of course there are scary units in every army, but there are limitations in there, and I think it would be a lot of fun. But anyway, that's my opinion on it. What's yours? Let us know in the comments. And I hope you've enjoyed this latest installment in the Tactica series. We'll hopefully be pumping out many, many more for you guys. And see you in the next one.